Now, out of our list of Qumran material is that only the Testament of Levi directly references the 70 weeks, and so we're going to start there in chapters 16 through 18 of that work. And now I have learned that for 70 weeks you shall go astray and profane the priesthood and pollute the sacrifices. And you shall make void the law and set at naught the words of the prophets by evil perverseness, and you shall persecute righteous men and hate the godly. The words of the faithful shall you abhor. And a man who reneweth the law in the power of the Most High you shall call a deceiver, and at last you shall rush upon him to slay him, not knowing his dignity, taking innocent blood through wickedness upon your heads. And your holy places shall be laid waste even to the ground because of him. And you shall have no place that is clean, but you shall be among the Gentiles a curse and a dispersion, until he shall again visit you, and in pity shall receive you through faith and water. Now, I imagine your ears perked up quite a bit there, because in 16:3, it talked about a future man that the Jews will call a deceiver and kill him, although he is innocent of blood. 16:4 sounds like the city and temple being destroyed. And now we can easily see how these verses connect to Daniel 9:24 and especially 9:26. Then take note of verse 5 again, because it says that the Jews will be dispersed among the Gentiles until the man they killed returns back, i.e., a second coming. Now, if this all sounds a little too good to be true, is that it very well could be. Because currently, there is an ongoing chicken or the egg debate between what scholars call the Aramaic Levite document and what we just read in what is called the Testament of Levi, out of the Testament of the Patriarchs. Only two small fragments of Levi have been found at Qumran, along with one fragment of the Testament of Naphtali. So there is a camp that sees a little too much New Testament in what we just read and in other parts of the work. Because the next thing the writer says in 17:3 is that in the second Jubilee, he that is anointed shall be conceived in the sorrow of beloved ones, and his priesthood shall be honored and shall be glorified by all. Now, obviously this sounds a lot like Jesus' conception, then him being called the great high priest over the church, like in the book of Hebrews. Now, just listen to chapter 18 and just be honest with yourself by asking, does this sound a little too good to be true or not? Then shall the Lord raise up a new priest, and to him all the words of the Lord shall be revealed. And he shall execute a righteous judgment upon the earth for a multitude of days. And his star shall arise in heaven as of a king, lighting up the light of knowledge as the sun the day. And he shall be magnified in the world. He shall shine forth as the sun on the earth, and shall remove all darkness from under heaven, and there shall be peace in all the earth. The heavens shall exult in his days, and the earth shall be glad, and the clouds shall rejoice, and the knowledge of the Lord shall be poured forth upon the earth as the waters of the seas, and the angels of the glory of the presence of the Lord shall be glad in him. The heavens shall be open, and from the temple of glory shall come upon him sanctification, with the Father's voice as from Abraham to Isaac. And the glory of the Most High shall be uttered over him, and the spirit of understanding and sanctification shall rest upon him in the water. For he shall give the majesty of the Lord to his sons in truth forevermore, and there shall none succeed him for all generations forever. And in his priesthood the Gentiles shall be multiplied in knowledge upon the earth, and enlightened through the grace of the Lord. In his priesthood shall sin come to an end, and the lawless shall cease to do evil, and just shall rest in him. And he shall open the gates of the paradise, and shall remove the threatening sword against Adam. And he shall give to the saints to eat from the tree of life, and the spirit of holiness shall be on him. And Beliar shall be bound by him, and he shall give power to his children to tread upon the evil spirits. And the Lord shall rejoice in his children, and be pleased in his beloved ones forever. Then shall Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob exult, and I will be glad, and all the saints shall clothe themselves with joy. And now, my children, you have heard all. Choose therefore for yourselves either the light or the darkness, either the law of the Lord or the works of Beliar. Now, I think when you pull out all the bullet points of chapter 18, is that you basically see Jesus' whole life retold. You have the Star of Bethlehem, his baptism by John the Baptist, growth of followers, especially Gentiles, forgiveness of sins by the cross, revelation themes of eating from the tree of life and Satan being bound, and his followers having power over evil spirits. It just seems to be a little too exact. And if we were to go back to chapter 14 in verses 1 through 2, is that we see a little bit more of this. Therefore, my children, I have learnt that at the end of the ages you shall transgress against the Lord, stretching out hands to wickedness against him, and to all the Gentiles shall you become a scorn. For our father Israel is pure from the transgressions of the chief priests, who shall lay their hands upon the Savior of the world. Now, there are many scholars who, have commented on this very apparent match with the life of Jesus. And here's Martin McNair's take. Certain sections of the Testaments seem closely related to the New Testament, and in some texts, at least in them, are of Christian origin. But there are also resemblances with the literature of Qumran. For over a century, it has been a matter of discussion among scholars whether the Testaments is basically a Jewish work with Christian interpolations, or a Christian composition which uses Jewish sources. Opinion is still divided on the origins of the present Testaments. Some believe that the work was composed by a Jew or Jewish Christian in the 1st or 2nd century A.D. Others maintain that they are of pre-Christian or Jewish, possibly Essene origin. The original language of the present work, whether Aramaic or Greek, is also debated. So, I'm sorry if this seemed like a little bit like, a bait and switch to you, but I would say it's more like a bait and wait, because the manuscript evidence is just not conclusive enough to say for us to yep, boom, we got it. But that really goes for either side in this. So, really, why did I even bring that up? Well, because you will come across Christian scholars who will point to chapter 16 and say, yes, look, there's strong evidence for a pre-Christian, for the messianic interpretation and more or less forecasting Jesus' life. When you really look at it as a whole, is that you can see it seems too good to be true. And they'll do this without bringing up what appears to be post 70 AD, Christians' hand at work in here. And I personally would rather show you the whole picture versus being accused of confirmation bias. But if there ends up being scrolls found in Qumran that have all this, then oh boy. Reminder, hit the subscribe button below, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button, and leave a comment. And don't forget to visit us at justscripture.org. And in the meantime, stay salty.